Nobody's no Adam Driver fans, no sequel trilogy fans of any kind, no Soylo, a Soy War Story fans at all either. You'll get banned. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Kennedy's magnificent bullshit artistry. It's very interesting to me watching that play out yesterday. The shill sites picked it up, and I'm like, all right, we have a reading comprehension and a bullshit detector comprehension deficit in the world. Hollywood Reporter basically, and Vanity Fair article from a week ago basically said, she said there weren't really any movies in the works. Okay. Turned around and basically, all right, she contradicts herself. Talking about movies in the works, talking about Taika Waititi's movie in the works. I'm sure he was shocked by what she said. Okay. And others. And then when some slobbering SJW fan person showed up, begging her for Soylo 2, she was like, oh, you'll never know what's going to happen. Hey, Dave, it's not going to happen. Okay. Now, why do I say she's a bullshit artist? Contradicted herself. For the industry and the people that Vanity Fair isn't read by Molly Damon and her stupid husband and Jason Ward and the fanboys that show up dressed like Leia, okay, at Celebration. Not the Raylos don't read it, and when they do, they don't understand it. All right, it is not a magazine that fans, morons, we'll call them, reads. Okay. Vanity Fair's for people that work in the film industry, in the culture, and people like me. Okay. And it used to be a great book. Now it's a pamphlet, first of all, and second of all, the writing is shit. I mean, when I realized that Bresnikan was the person behind the articles, I almost vomited. Okay, because he's terrible. I mean, he's not, well, let's put it this way, he is not the guy you want writing an in-depth, fair article. Okay, he's not going to be fair. He's going to kiss our asses. Basically, it's a stylized, hoity-toity PR piece. Okay, but when you read the Vanity Fair article, and more to the point, even the Hollywood Reporter, which is, yes, it did. It used to be prestige, and now it's shit. It really is. When you look at the Hollywood Reporter, which is for the industry, and you see what she says, I mean, she basically indirectly throws J.J. Abrams under the bus, okay, which is not helping him, by the way, with David Zaslav, who probably wants to kick him off the team. All right, and if you didn't realize J.J. had a problem, when they hired James Gunn for DC, there was your problem. Okay, there was the problem. So, she was saying two different things, and she was playing to two different crowds. Okay, the crowd at the Star Wars convention, like I said, are a bunch of morons for the most part. They're fans, and like a good politician, she's going to bullshit them. Okay, like, you've got Mitch McConnell demanding John Cornyn, who's the senior senator in Texas, to, hey, it was awesome, wasn't it, Jay? The senior senator from Texas to make a deal with the Democrats over gun control. That's a bullshit artist. You've already got Rand Paul and the junior senator from Texas, Ted Cruz, saying no. They've already put blocks on it, on anything. Okay, that is playing to the more moderate morons. Okay. The rank file of the Republican Party is starting to break more libertarian. Okay. We won't talk about that though. This is what Kennedy's doing when she goes to Star Wars Celebration and spews a bunch of stupid shit we know isn't happening. Sure, I think that Stone Republic is getting, I think it's an animated series for 1 year, a limited series. I think. I'm not sure. That's what they said. But of course, them saying it and it happening are two different things, as you can see from D23 2 years ago, when there's been no movement on anything but Ahsoka. He loves it. He's very fair. He's not really liking Moses Ingram. And I'm going to be fair. I can see that, but I don't think she's a drag on the show. Look, I'm going to be very blunt and very honest. When I look at just another channel came out and said the show was bad. Fuck you. Okay, fuck you. It wasn't bad. And they know it. But I swear to God, the place where all the gamers hang out and the bearded guy with the Coke bottle glasses, skinny dude, I swear to God, they got together, put a email out with the narrative, it's going to be bad no matter what. You people must march to our tune. And everybody's doing it, okay? It's time to stop. I'm going to be very honest. One of these days, sooner rather than later, this bad attitude is going to come bite everybody on the back, on their butts, okay? All right? It is. And why? Because it's not real. It's not true. And I'll tell you something else. It is not fair. It is not fair. And one of the things that pulled me out of the sequel trilogy is not fair. It wasn't fair to the main characters from the OT. It was unfair to them. It wasn't fair to George Lucas. It was unfair to him, and it was unfair to the fans. Okay? All right. Yet, these channels are being unfair to a good show. Unfair. And I hate that. I hate that. I'm not looking for equity because equity is commie and I'm not. I'm looking for being, all right, it was pretty good. All right, these are the things I didn't like about it, but all in all, not bad. Instead, we got people crowing that Stranger Things and Top Gun are beating it out in Google searches. Who cares? Who cares? You know, looking for anything to go after Disney. Well, you know, here's the deal, Jay. I don't think you understand. Obi-Wan Kenobi was a good show, and it is a good show. All right? I don't see being a Star Wars fan watching it and saying it's not. I don't understand that attitude. And then I realize, people can't let go of 2017 and 2018. They can't. It doesn't help Lucasfilm at all that Kathleen Kennedy is in everybody's faces right now again. And the usual suspects, and Jay, you know who I'm talking about. The Pensacola, the Desert of the Redneck Riviera. All right? And I'm not talking about our old friend. I'm talking about the other one. And Coke bottle glasses with the beard. They aren't being fair. And they aren't being fair for a reason. The little chick in California is not being fair. And I'm going to say this very bluntly. If you go after Moses Ingram in a way that makes you look like a racist, you are basically validating what she was told about you. Okay? You are being unfair. And you're being inarticulate and stupid. Okay? I've got friends who should be doing YouTube talking about this. unwilling to do it because they're so pissed off at this, who have a better take than anybody, okay? All right? If you can't appreciate the money spent, which was a lot, Ewan McGregor and Rupert Friend and Joel Edgerton, and I don't know what to do with you. I really don't. But again, the people that set the narrative, which is what we now have, are there to make money. Okay? All right? And instead of going, this was pretty good. I mean, I did have some problems, blah, blah, blah was weak. And, I saw a plot hole, but ultimately it was pretty good. That's all you need to do. So people can discuss it. Okay? So we can have fun. Or, I'm sure that some of these people spent an hour talking about Uvalde. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You can't. But you're sure as hell making money on people's outrage from the right. Yeah, she is Writers Brothers. You're right. I mean, it's better than the sequel trilogy. Then you've got others saying it was woke because of Reva and Leia. I'm insulted by that. Why? First off, Leia is my third favorite character. Little girl did a great job. Okay, too bad, so sad. They had to show what she was doing, and they had to set up how she would get kidnapped by Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. By the way, when I saw him, I started laughing my ass off. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, a good strong, sorry guys. A good strong wind would blow him over. Okay. We don't, I don't see these people talking about the Easter eggs that were in it. Talking about seeing Tamara Morrison. I mean, I was like, oh my God, and then being so, yeah, and you're right. I mean, you're right, Writer Brothers. And it's so, to me, she was perfect. Leia was perfect. And it is so disingenuous to say the show is woke because of her. She's a little 10-year-old girl. All right? By the way, if you can appreciate the fact that she's blown people off and her parents off and doing what she wanted, that's Leia. That is who that little girl becomes the princess who's, taking over her own rescue. But you didn't have problems with that. But I guarantee it, get ready, that if the OT came out right now and they saw Leia taking over her rescue, the same people would be screaming it's woke. All right, they would be screaming it's woke. Okay, I'm done. Meanwhile, we've got Kennedy bullshitting the SJWs. Look, boxing, the Jedi here, Jay, knows that I used to work. Oh yeah, definitely Writer Brothers. I mean, she's a 10-year-old. She's a little girl. I've worked on Capitol Hill, so I know politicians, and I've seen people that were on our side. I'm not a Republican anymore. I'm a Libertarian, unaffiliated voter. Say one thing to one group and then another thing to another group. That's exactly what Kennedy did. There's not going to be a solo 2. There may be a solo streaming show, but Alden Ehrenreich isn't going to take the part. She basically said so. Harrison Ford is the only person who can play Han Solo, just like he's the only person who can play Indiana Jones. Okay? She's basically, first off, telling the fans you were right, you fuckers. Second of all, she's basically, stroking Ford's ego, because I'm pretty sure after he saw awful Aaron Yuck, he was like, oh God, you know? Look, he liked to tell people in the past it's easy to play Han Solo. High cross element, it's not easy to play Han Solo if you're not Harrison Ford. Okay? Simple, right? It's a simple equation. All right? When you think about 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay? And she got beat over the head with it by the fans. Solo lost $250 million, and not all of that loss can be blamed on the backlash against TLJ. Okay? A lot of it can be based on the fact that awful Aaron Yuck sucked. He was a shitty choice to play Han. The script sucked. And basically, people were like, no, because they went about it all wrong. They went about it all wrong. You can do an origin story about Han, about Asajj Ventress. You can do these, but you have to do it right. And it has to be correct for the universe. And nothing of that sort happened in that movie. Okay? And it wasn't just TLJ backlash. It was insulting to our intelligence, that movie. Okay? You can say you liked it, but I guarantee you, if someone else had taken it and done something different, instead of showing Han as a kid on Corellia, seeing him get court, saving Chewie, and then getting court-martialed. And that's how I would have started that. Not, I mean, when I saw, because I did see clips of him trying to communicate to Chewie before he was going to eat him, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is John Kasdan's idea of how he met Chewbacca. It even goes against canon if you think about it. You know, so no, he just naturally just wears blood stripes and there's no reason for it. I mean, no. That's like, look, that's like stolen valor, and I'm pretty sure there are people within Lucasfilm that say he did that because they hate the character. All right. It's like, no, that's not how that happened. No, and that could be a story he tells to somebody. Why, somebody getting up in his face. All right. How dare you wear those? You're too young for them, blah, blah. And then, you know, because when you look at how Corellians viewed the blood stripes, the stripes on his pants, it was very, very, very a sacred part of their culture. Okay. All right. So we got that. And the idea that if these people still want a Solo too is laughable. Look, and that is a delusional approach on their side, and it is a cynical thing for Kathy Kennedy to do. Be real, we're not doing it. We're not doing this anymore. We're not doing Solo. All right. And then talking of Taika Waititi's movie, and he said they're not doing anything with it. Kevin Feige's, she said he wasn't working on it. All right. Thanks, Jay. I really, I don't understand how um, people go about anything anymore. You know what I'm saying? I do understand why she was doing it. It was the words to say to that crowd. Okay? The words to say to that crowd. That's all. All right? Meaningless. If you want to know what she really thought, read the Vanity Fair article. Well, you're not going to get what she really thinks. But what you'll get the subtext. And in the article, the subtext is very heavy with, we're not doing movies right now because we don't know where to go. All right. And basically, Disney's not going to give us any money to do any movies because they don't trust us. And they're not going to trust us until I'm gone, aka Kathy. And that's basically the bottom line. All right. What do I think is going on? I think this is her farewell tour. It's just people who I know that are at the celebration right now are saying it was very strange. What when she was there, what's going on? It's very. It was like there's you get a feeling of something's different, and the way it's been explained to me is that there's something different here. Again, hey, did anybody see her walk out with Harrison Ford when he went out to wish John Williams a happy birthday? No. Was she there to help announce Indy 5's release date? No. Harrison Ford. That's a big, big thing. Okay? That is a big, big thing. Why? It was her movie. It was the last thing she wanted to do. And she was nowhere near that moment. Sure, she was at celebration. She didn't have anything to do with that. Think about it. I want you to think about it. She, I think, had it taken away from her. All right? That's the feeling I get. All right? First off, like I said, I think it was yesterday, she's poison. All right? To the people who don't like her, I mean, part of the reason why the big channels get away with shitting all over Obi-Wan is that she's still there. And they're still stupid enough to let themselves get triggered by it or pretend they're getting triggered by it. They don't know how to read the tea leaves. You know, they don't know how to read the tea leaves. And, you know, it's true. I mean, look, my experience tells me she might be gone in October. All right, there's something amiss. Yeah, it is. And it's true. All right. It's very, very true. She wasn't there. I don't think, look, I have thought for years that Harrison Ford didn't like her. I thought for years he was just like, whatever, Kathy. Now he'll say nice things about her. He has to. It's a professional thing to do. But I don't think he likes her. I don't think he tolerates her. I don't, you know, and you really can't blame him. I mean, she basically probably chased Steven Spielberg and you know, Bob Iger wouldn't let George Lucas of all people be part of Indy 5, which is bullshit. There should be, if he wanted to do it, it should be his story. All right, because he was the one that created the character. Okay. But I honestly think when Doomcock's rumors went to the Daily Mail and apparently were true, that was it. Because that's when it changed. And we can see it in the facts. Indy 5's release date was pushed back a year to June 30th of next year. She lost children of blood and bone. And apparently, you know, she can talk about the Acolyte all she wants, and say it's still in development and give Leslie Headland a chance to talk in that piece. She hasn't said a word about it. Nothing. Well, I was expecting it to be announced on Thursday, but instead they announced John Watts' show, The Skeleton Crew, okay? Which I think is actually taking the place where Rangers of the New Republic was supposed to be. But again, I think giving Gina Carano, even in her absence like this, the power to be gone and then that show not being made is the wrong thing to do. You know, I really honestly think Disney should say, we would like Gina back if she wants to come back, but if not, we are going to go forward with Rangers of the New Republic. We will recast the role of Cara Dune or make it about another character. And that's what they should do. Okay. I'm up to here with her. I don't care. My friend Nick Cersei's in that movie of hers that was developed by partners of Daily Wire, and I don't care. I don't care. I mean, to me, that whole fiasco, she's not Ricky Gervais. She can't just say whatever she wants. She couldn't just say whatever she wanted and have the company back her up, like Netflix is backing him up. She doesn't have that cachet, and she's put herself in a place where she never will. My attitude for people, wait until you're in a place where you are a powerful known entity before you start spewing about politics, okay? She did it the wrong way. But in some ways, I'm going to say this, I think she's very cynical about Star Wars. She didn't want to do it. And she got herself out of it. Now, do I believe she was treated badly by Lucasfilm? Yeah. Do I think Kennedy fucked everything up on purpose? Yeah, I do. And that was another moment where they started pulling power away from her. All right. Basically, by the end of that fiasco, hey Joe, she basically had nothing to do with Star Wars. I mean, look, Puck.com, Matt Bellany basically said, we need to take Star Wars movies away from Kathleen Kennedy. And then he basically said, Jon Favreau has the feature films too. Okay. But she still had Children of Blood and Bone. Her girl was still running Acolyte. And she still had Indy 5. And, it looked like other projects. Now, just Indy 5 in name only. All right? That's it. And yet, her being there, her presence there, hurts Obi-Wan Kenobi. It hurts Lucasfilm. It hurts Disney. Okay? Because after 2018, those big channels that grew by leaps and bounds over The Last Jedi, they're the ones setting the fan narrative. I'm not. Again, they're unfair. And it's a self-licking ice cream cone. Okay? Anything that Lucasfilm does that's good is going to be shit on as long as she's there. As long as she's got her face plastered everywhere. All right? Remove her from the equation. She's not talking to anybody. She's not talking about Star Wars. She's not talking to shill sites. Nobody. She's off doing something else and is completely cut off from Lucasfilm. Then what do they have to talk about? Okay. Then we're back where we were with the prequels. Okay. All right. Where fans, in part, did do enough harm to Lucasfilm for George to sell off. Okay? Prequel haters plus Marin County equals George sells off. Okay? That's what happened. All right? The fans that hated the prequels, that are now hating all of Disney Star Wars, it doesn't matter, you know, are at fault for what happened to Jake Lloyd, did attack Hayden Christensen, right? And when you ask him to, why don't you watch the prequel trilogy over again? Sure, Attack of the Clones is the weakest link. So, it's a better story than The Force Awakens. It's a better story than TLJ. Better story than The Rise of Shitwalker. All right? Again, it's they're creating a fulfilling prophecy, and they've become the monsters they hunted. All right? There's a reason why I'm being fair about Moses Ingram. It has nothing to do with the race. It has everything to do with the fact that she did not do that bad a job. Okay? The fact that when I saw people attacking her viciously, like, I just was like, okay, okay, you're validating everything they said about you. Everything you say is untrue. They're validating it. You're validating what Kathleen Kennedy thinks about you. Do you like that? Do you want to be the person? And there are people within the fandom that enjoy that. Yes, that's me. But you want to be taken seriously. Well, my money, hey, look, guess what? Enough people like Obi-Wan Kenobi to where you're not seeing it doesn't really matter. Okay. Then we have the SJW problem at Disney by and large. It roared its ugly head with LaToya Raveneau and Latondra Newton during the Alphabet Skittles debate over the Florida parental rights bill. Okay, look. And I've said this, and you guys have heard me. If I had kids, and if I put them in school, and if a teacher was teaching gender bullshit to them, and they were in kindergarten, I would pull them out of school, I would homeschool, and I would go to the school board demanding that teacher be fired. Okay. It is not homophobic to call people like that groomers, because that's what they're doing. Okay. This is an action. Actions are verbs, right? If you are up there in front of a class of 6-year-olds talking about this shit, you are a groomer. Okay? I don't care your excuse. You are not, and look, I'm going to tell you something. You are not a protected class either. All right? I got pilloried on Instagram for calling this shit out yesterday. All right? And look, Bill Maher, for all of his, was right. This is trendy. This is why this is going on. It is trendy. Okay? And he's right. All right? But it's hurting kids. It's hurting families. How dare these people think that they can hide the fact that their students taking puberty blockers? And why would you think that's healthy for a child? And may I remind you, till a kid is 18, they don't know shit when they're 18, but they are in the custody and responsibility of their parents, not the gender neutral, non-binary freakazoid with purple hair teaching them about how to put a condom on a banana, okay? Or talking about whatever they talk about in that shit when they're 6. And this is why that bill got passed in Florida by a large Democrats in Florida wanted it. All right, stop fucking with people's kids. Okay? I'm going to tell you something. If you have any gay friends, they will tell you how it happened. Okay? They were groomed. All right, they were groomed. And the ones that I know are all up in arms about grooming. They don't like it, they don't want it. Why? It's not a fun existence. All right? It is not a fun way to live. And you're not a victim either, unless you want to be. They're not victims. Bruce isn't, Charles isn't, John isn't. You know, they're not victims. They did this to themselves. They live this way. This is how they live. Okay? This is their choice. Choosing to be that way is not a victim. You're not a victim. Okay? And Bruce is very blunt about that choice. All right? The bullshit that they can't help it is bullshit. All right? That is bullshit. And you know, okay? So when this shit came down and those videos were released, and I watched them, and my blood pressure went up, and I saw Bob Chapek's hostage video, I was like, oh fuck. Okay, so that stuff's been like, they've silenced everything on that. And I'd like to know, and hoping Cameron's contact can say what's really going on. The last time I'd heard was that woke HR people were leaving at Disney. They were being laid off or told to go. Okay, they were leaving. All right, where do you start firing people? HR. That's who does it. Okay, so that happened, but that's the last thing. That's the last thing I heard. But have we heard the same people who would be screaming about abortion and Roe versus Wade? Crickets at Disney, yeah. Yeah. All right. And it does, and you're right, Dave. And this is why parents have to be part of the conversation with education. They have to. But with all that, you know, people want to see action taken now. Again, stop it. All right, just, I don't, you know, first off, it's childish to think that way. All right, this is a delicate move. It's just like, why don't they just fire Kathleen Kennedy? Because they don't want her to go to Deadline and say they're a bunch of misogynists. And if she did that, there would be a lot of trouble for Disney. All right? Disney doesn't like bad PR. Ultimately, when all this shit went down over the parental rights bill, that was bad PR for Disney. Look at where their stocks went. Okay? Those are shareholders walking away. Okay? That's what that was. All right. So, and, what else? You know, Kennedy, look, when I saw all that, she goes walking out after John and Dave got, that's what happened, right? Third wheel. She's now the third wheel. She'll sit there and blather on and pretend everything's hunky-dory, and they have to put up with it, and that's what it is. Okay? But if you honestly think she's being honest and not bullshitting people at Star Wars Celebration, you are smoking some dope that I want to have. Because I want to see what color the sky is in your world. Okay? And I'm not just saying that to the people who really want this dumpster fire shit out there. I'm saying it to the fandom menace. Okay, if you, look, you can't believe anybody. It's like the Amber Heard thing. She contradicts herself everywhere. Okay, Kennedy contradicted herself from Vanity Fair. I'm sure she couldn't remember what she told them. But also, she was telling them more to the truth than she was telling these people at Celebration, because she knew the truth would make them go okay? She's gonna give them what they want. All right? And Dave is right. It is the damage control tour. She did get a lukewarm. No one likes her. I mean, and she knows that. I mean, but we're talking about a woman whose ego is the size of Lambeau Field, okay? So a lukewarm reception doesn't even register on her radar because she's so unaware of herself. Okay? She has no awareness that the fans don't like her. Okay? Just like Chuck Schumer doesn't have any awareness that there are Democrats out there that don't like him. All right? Nancy Pelosi, she is not aware that a vast majority of the American people hate her guts. I mean, look. When you see them address it, they act like we're a small minority, okay? When you see Kevin McCarthy address people who don't like him, he acts like it's a small minority, and it's not. It's a vast majority of Republicans. And the only reason why he's where he is because he's got enough of his fellow congressmen that he caucuses with bullied and manipulated, okay? All right? I know what he is. My congressman from this district, Scott Perry, knows what he is. Scott Perry's a good man, okay? They tried to kick him out. They tried to primary him because he was working with Trump. This is the narrative they want to build. And Kennedy is all part of that elite, you're right, Joe. He is the same way. But he's a bullshit artist. Okay? He knows. Look, John Cornyn can't go to the Republican establishment in Texas with a ban on AR-15s. He can't. He'll lose. All right? And I'm going to say this. If Beto O'Rourke wanted to go against any Republican, John Cornyn would be the one. Okay? All right. He's a lot more easily defeated than Ted Cruz. When Beto broke into that press conference, I thought Ted Cruz was going to kill him. He came flying off the dais like Batman. I was like, and then Beto gets dragged up by security. This is not a good look for the Democrats. Not a good look at all. The optics. And here's the problem with Kennedy at Celebration. It's the optics. Because you're validating what the naysayers are saying. Okay? The negative, black-pilled, crybabies that set the agenda for the... look, I almost feel like the word went out amongst all the big channels that the narrative was going to be Obi-Wan failed even when it's good. Okay? And I'm going to say this. For every one of those people who say they hated it, they probably secretly liked it. Okay? Because, again, they've got to keep up the pretense and hate Disney because of all this shit going down from 2018. Oh yeah, Joe, that is funny. 2018 is cannon fodder. We've got a group of people looking for the next Last Jedi so they can hate it, okay? And it's unhealthy for the fandom because I really feel that people right now are very easily manipulated. They're not seeing things the way they should see it. They're not, and I'll tell you something else. If you go, look, I saw panels yesterday on a bunch of different YouTube channels. Nobody had anybody on there that liked the show. Nobody. That is bullshit. That is not a balanced panel, okay? That is bullshit, and it's not right. Polly and Tom Conkle loved it, okay, which is great, all right, because they were right. They were right. This is my attitude about all this. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a good show. Hey, Eldritch. Hey, Lord Hester. Despite the naysayers, I think it's going to probably be a little more successful than Boba Fett. I do believe that Kennedy is on her way out the door. This is the thing going on. And we just have to sit back, kick back, and go, we wait. Look, it's all a waiting game now. And this is something that I want people to take with them. When you're at a bigger channel and it's nothing but hate this and hate that and whatever. These are the people who were bruised unimaginably when they were called homophobes and misogynists and racists. All right. Oh, she does, doesn't she? And the problem I have is that you can take the poor feelings too far, okay? And they're wrapping up themselves in victimhood, and they're allowing themselves to be victims, and they're turning into what they hate the most. I want you to take this with you when you go to a bigger channel and they're bitching about the show. When you hunt monsters, you're going to become a monster. And if you stare long enough into the abyss, the abyss stares back at you. And that's exactly what's going on right now. And it has got to end. It has got to stop. All right? All right? Because it's not good for anybody. It's not good for them either. All right, anyway, I got to go. So I'm going to rock. You guys behave, be safe. And sorry, Jonathan. Look, I don't know if notifications even come anymore. And, you know, as soon as I can get a setup to where I can actually do more on the channel than I can, because this is just a phone, then I'll be able to get more going. Anyway, you guys have a good one, but just remember, this too shall pass, and go back and read the Vanity Fair article and the Hollywood Reporter, then go and see what Kennedy was telling people at Celebration, and try to convince me that she's not bullshitting the fans. She's not bullshitting the fans, okay? Because she is. This is Steph. I'll see you guys later.